Arabs are diverse. They have diverse flavors of regional accents, diverse customs, cuisines, cultures, and more. Being Arab is having a certain look, a certain aesthetic, a certain demeanor, a certain outlook on life. And this diversity can also come in terms of genetics. Arabs are also genetically diverse. But their diversity in terms of genetics is not very different but slightly different, as most Afro-Asiatic speakers found in the Middle East and North Africa share similar Paleolithic and Neolithic ancestry, and some of the Neolithic populations, such as the Natufians, who are the genetic base for many populations found in the Middle East, Egypt, Libya, and the Horn of Africa. And there are also the descendants of Paleolithic Proto-Natufians who went northwest of Africa, mixed with the North Saharan Khoisanid population, and which gave rise to the Ibero-Maurusians, who are the genetic base of the indigenous North African Amazigh and other North African Mediterranean people. And there is also the Neolithic Anatolian farmers who are the genetic base of Southern Europeans. They also heavily influence the populations found in the Mediterranean part of the Arab world and Mesopotamia, aka Iraq. But the genetic influence of this population have minor influence among Egyptians and Arabians. And the last groups in terms of genetic admixture to heavily influence the Arab people are the late Neolithic to early Bronze Age Zagrossian Iranian farmers, who had the most genetic influence among the Mesopotamians, but also the Arabians, Levantines, and Egyptians, but has minor influence among the Maghrebi people. And other populations that had minor genetic influence among the Arab people are the Caucasus hunter-gatherers, the Bantu/West African farmer, the Yamnaya, aka the Aryans, and the Arabian hunter-gatherer, which little is known about them, but I can guess that they are descended from the Proto-Natufians. So, depending on regions or respective clans, the percentage rate of this ancestry can range. For example, Egyptians, Libyans, Khalij Arabs, and the majority of Yemenites have up to 60 to 65% Natufian ancestry. The Mesopotamian Arabs and Levantines have balanced Neolithic ancestry, which are mostly 35% Natufian, 31% Anatolian farmer, and 30% Zagrossian farmer. And also in case of clans, the Neolithic ancestry can range too. For example, in Yemen, my homeland, there are clans which are up to 90% Natufian derived ancestry, such as the Sokotri and Mehri clans. And there are clans with balanced Neolithic ancestry, similar to the Levantines, such as these clans found in Ib, Jaffa, and the Mara regions. So this is the first layer of Arab genetic diversity. The second layer is morphological phenotypes. So what is morphological phenotype? Morphological phenotypes are the observable physical characteristics of an organism that arises from the interactions between the genotype, aka genetic makeup, nutrition, and the environment. So, in the Arab world, there are many diverse Arab phenotypes. These phenotypes formed from genetic clusters found in the Arab world, and each phenotype is adapted to its climate and other environmental factors. So, these phenotypes have minor differences, but they are important to shine light of the beauty of genetic diversity found among Arab people. And in the end of this video, you'll understand why Arabs look slightly different. As you can tell apart a Saudi from a Yemeni, or an Algerian from a Moroccan, or a Syrian from a Lebanese, in terms of phenotypic look. So enjoy the video and don't forget to hit all the buttons, as it will help with the algorithm. In the captivating landscapes of Yemen, a distinct subgroup of Orientalid known as Yemenid emerges. This particular subtype, however, deviates in an Armenoid direction, setting them apart from their Arabid counterparts. These descendants of the Sabaean civilization, the first dam builders in human history, are heavily found among the Yemenites. but their presence is commonly observed in regions such as Oman and the UAE and Hejaz, or Western Saudi Arabia. The story of the Yemenite in this region is deeply intertwined with ancient migrations and bustling trade routes that connected diverse cultures. As intrepid traders traverse the vast expanses of land, they carry with them their Yemenite genetic heritage, leaving their marks on various corners of the world. One such destination is the northern and eastern parts of Africa, where the Yemenite influence takes roots, especially among the Habeshas, who are the descendants of Yemeni men from the Sabaean era that immigrated or exiled to Ethiopia in the ancient period, intermarried with the local North Cushitic women, and gave rise to a modern Habesha who preserved some remnants of the pre-Arabization Yemenite heritage, such as the South Semitic languages, writing, and culture. And in Sudan, for instance, the Yemenites experienced a long history of admixture with the local Sudanese populations. This intermingling resulted in a unique synthesis of traits found in Sudanese Arab, as well as other diverse groups like the Rashida and even the Barwanis. The Yemenite genetic pioneering does not stop there. Their genetic influence reaches far beyond the African continent, even in distant lands like India, Pakistan, Iran, and in Malaysia and in Indonesia, which gave rise to the Indo-Arabs and the Arab Malays. Now, let's explore the physical traits that characterize the Yemenites. Well, their skin tones ranges from light to medium brown, perfectly suited to the sun-drenched landscape of the coast or the dark and cloudy highlands they inhabit. Their hair is often wavy and curly, boasting a lustrous black to dark brown color. In terms of stature, the Yemenites are rather average to short, possessing a mesocranic build with an ectomorphic physique. And when it comes to their facial features, the Yemeni display a unique set of qualities. Their heads are brachycephalic, meaning they are relatively broad compared to their length. And the shape of their skull is mildly hypsicranic, featuring a flat occiput and a small head. The nose of the Yemenid is hyperleptorine, often appearing convex or even hooked, adding to the distinctiveness of their facial structure. Their faces are narrow with fine features, including deep-set almond-shaped eyes, which are smaller compared to the Arabid eyes, and also they have full lips. And notably, prognathy or the protrusion of the jaw is absent among the Yemenites. So, now, let's move to the Arabids. In the vast Arabian Peninsula, a particular ethnic group known as Arabids flourishes. They are the most common type of people in the region, often associated with Semitic languages. Originally, their presence is limited to the confines of Arabia itself. However, throughout history, various ancient migration and the expansion of Islam plays a pivotal role in the spreading of the influence of the Arabid far and wide. And one of the destinations that the Arabid reaches is North Africa, where they encounter diverse populations. Over time, extensive intermingling occurs, resulting in a heavily mixed population such as the Arab Berbers. The conquerors and Arab tradesmen, driven by their ambitions and venturesome spirit, carried the Arabid heritage beyond North Africa. They traversed the Mediterranean, leaving traces of their presence in distant lands. And also parts of East Africa, India, and even Indonesia feel the touch of the Arabid influence due to the extensive trade networks and interactions established by Arab merchants. Now, let's delve into the physical traits that characterize the Arabids. The skin tone ranges from light to sometimes medium brown skin, perfectly suited to the sun-drenched landscape they inhabit. Their hair, often wavy or curly, showcases a rich black-brown hue. In terms of stature, the Arabids are of medium to tall height, possessing a mesoscalic build with an ectomorphic physique. When it comes to their facial features, the Orientalids have a unique set of characteristics. Their heads are dolichomesocephalic, meaning they are longer than they are wide. The shape of their skull, known as chemiocranic, is rather small and has a rhomboid structure, with an occiput that protrudes slightly. The nose of an Arabid is slightly convex and hyperleptorine, giving it a distinctive appearance. And their special features is their eyes. Their eyes are large, deep, and almond-shaped, with a prominent midface and full lips, adding to the overall aesthetics of their facial features. And in terms of body hair, Orientalids possesses an abundance of it. Due to the presence of these distinguishing physical features, some scholars even include the Orientalids within the broader category of Mediterranean, as they share certain similarities despite their unique qualities. The Levantine phenotype refers to a distinct human type that is found primarily in the Levant region of Eastern Mediterranean, encompassing areas such as modern-day Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Palestine. The Levantine phenotype has roots in the ancient civilizations of the Levant, such as the ancient Canaanites, Phoenicians, and the biblical Hebrews, found in high frequencies among the Lebanese Christians and the Samaritans, but also in high frequencies among Palestinians, Jordanians, Druze, and Western Syrians. This phenotype is also characterized by a unique blend of features resulting from historical interactions and genetic admixture between various populations in the region. The Levantine phenotype is Orientalid but has some Mediterranean appearances. They have a unique fusion of Mediterranean and Orientalid characteristics. It showcases features that are common among Mediterranean populations such as dark hair and olive or light brown skin tones, while also reflecting Orientalid influences in terms of facial structure and overall appearances. Individuals of this phenotype often have olive or light brown skin tones, reflecting the sun-kissed climates of the Levant. Their hair is usually dark and can range from straight to wavy. Their eye color can vary, but brown is the most common. And in terms of facial features, the Levantine phenotype is characterized by a mesorrhine or leptorrhine nose, which is straight or slightly convex. The nose have a prominent bridge or a slight aquiline curve. Their eyes are always almond-shaped and can be expressive. Their face shape tend to be oval or slightly long, with well-defined cheekbones. Their lips are usually medium-sized and can be either thin or moderately full. Regarding stature, individuals with the Levantine phenotype generally have medium height with a mesoscalic or mesomorph body build. Their body proportions are often well balanced with an average or slightly athletic physique. This phenotype is highly diverse and can exhibit variation within the region due to historical migrations, interaction, and genetic influences from neighboring populations. And as a result of this, there can be considerable individual variation within the Levantine phenotype, reflecting the rich genetic and cultural mosaic of the Levant region. In the southern landscape of the Arabian Peninsula, there exists a distinct human type reminiscent of the Natufian people. This type, however, is often descendants of the Paleolithic Natufian hunter-gatherers, who for millennia are isolated from the vast admixture happening among its neighbors. Its presence can be observed among various communities spanning regions such as southwest Oman, eastern Yemen, and even on the enchanting, beautiful island of Socotra. Occasionally, echoes of this type can be found in Mesopotamia and Nubia, adding to its far-reaching influence. Now, let's explore the physical traits that characterizes this captivating type. Their skin tone is a deep shade of dark brown, a testament to the sun-drenched landscape they call home. Their hair texture is often wet and ranges from straight to wavy to curly in a distinctive ringlet pattern, bolstering a rich jet black color. In terms of stature, individuals of this type are rather medium height to short, with a range of body types from macroscalic to endomorph, and even ectomorph. They embody a combination of meso and brachycephalic features with very small heads and a mildly hypsychronic features. The nose are mildly leptorrhine and low, adding to their unique facial characteristics. And they have deep-set eyes, adding to the allure of their gaze. Strong heads are a notable feature among individuals of this type. They also have mild prognathism, or a slight protrusion of the jaw can occasionally be observed. In the vast expanse of West Asia, there exists a remarkable human type that shares striking anthropometric and morphological similarities with other European alpinids. This type predominantly thrives in the mountainous region stretching from Anatolia to northern Syria and Iraq. Its presence can also be observed in western Iran, the Caucasus, Palestine, and Lebanon, leaving an indelible mark on the diverse landscape it inhabits. The influence of this West Asian type exists further, albeit in lesser frequencies, reaching as far as Tajikistan, across Arabia, and even into southwestern reaches of Europe. The physical traits of this West Asian type displays a harmonious blend of features. Their skin tone ranges from light brown, reflecting the sun-kissed climate they inhabit, Their hair can be straight or wavy, spans a spectrum of shades from light brown to black. When it comes to stature, individuals of this type exhibit a medium to rather tall height with a mesoscalic build and an endomorphic physique. The shape of their skull is brachycephalic, meaning they are relatively broad compared to their length, maintaining a ortho or hypsychronic stature. Their faces are round. Their nose of this West Asian type is leptorine, characterized with a slim or straight stature, often featuring a roundish tip. The mouth is rather thin, contributing to their unique facial features. Notably, the skin of this type is slightly darker than their European counterparts, and their overall height tends to be slightly taller. It is worth mentioning that individuals of this West Asian type can sometimes be mistaken for those with similar features resulting from Turanid admixture, which adds to the complexity of their rich heritage. An Orientalid-Mediterranean variety that represents a distinct type commonly found in the Lower Nile Valley of Egypt. The purest expression of this type can be observed from the ancient Egyptian mummies to the modern Egyptian fellahin and the Copts. High frequencies can also occur among Egyptian Muslims, while lower frequencies can be among North Sudanese and Libyans. Physically, individuals belonging to the Egyptid variety typically have light brown skin with yellowish tint and wavy or curly black hair. They possess a medium height and fall within the mesomorph to ectomorph body types, with a mesoscalic build. Their skulls are dolichocephalic, often displaying an orthochronic shape. The eyes of the individuals with this variety are generally large and their mouths are generally wide. The nose tends to be leptorine, sometimes with a convex shape. Overall, the features of the Egyptid variety exhibit a certain degree of robustness, often appearing intermediate between proper Orientalid and Berberid types. The trans-Mediterranean subtype represents a widespread and influential human classification displaying numerous morphological features that fall between the Euro-Africanid and Glacial Mediterranean types. It is believed to be a glacialized version of the Euro-Africanid types that spread westward through the ancient migration, some of which occurred as early as antiquity, such as those associated with the Phoenicians. Today, the Mediterranean subtype is a common throughout North Africa, spanning from Morocco to Egypt, with particularly high concentration observed in Tunisia and Algeria. It is also found in Western Arabia, Southern Iberia, and occasionally in regions like Sicily, Sardinia, the Canary Islands, and other parts of Southern Europe. Physically, individuals belonging to the Mediterranean subtype typically possess a light or sometimes medium yellowish brown skin. Their hair ranges from straight to curly and is usually brown or black, often curlier than what is typically observed in European Mediterraneans. They tend to have a medium height and fall within the mesoscalic body type, leaning towards ectomorphy. Their skulls are dolicho-mesocephalic, mildly hypsychronic, meaning their vault is somewhat rounded, and exhibit an oval or often long face shape. The eyes are relatively large and the nose is straight. They also have a hyperleptorine, which is they have a high nose bridge, and the facial features of the Mediterranean subtype are relatively soft and the forehead is slightly sloped. This is a North African steppe type, is a distinct human classification that is commonly considered part of the Orientalid category. While the Arab liberation during the 7th and 11th centuries contributed to the increased presence of the Orientalid element in Africa, this type actually results from much earlier migration that has been present since ancient times. Even among the ancient Libyan Gramantes, it remains prevalent across the steppes of Libya, Egypt, Tunisia, and Morocco, occasionally extending to Algeria, the Sahara, and even Andalusia. Physically, individuals belonging to the North African steppe type typically have light brown skin and often possess wavy black hair. They tend to be rather tall and exhibit a brachy-mesoscalic body type, leaning towards ectomorphy. Their skulls are dolichocephalic and cameochronic, with a round occiput which is back of the skull. Their faces are long with dark eyes and big mouth. Their nose is often convex, hyperleptorine, which is having a high nose bridge, and prominent. The interorbital distance, which is the space between the eyes, is relatively small. Overall, the features of the North African steppe type are much finer in appearance compared to the Berberic type. This indigenous Maghrebi type is a distinct group that exhibits similarities to both Cro-Magnons and North Europeans. This similarity is likely a result of convergent evolution, where pre-Neolithic North Africans adapted to the cloudy mountain regions similar to northern climates. Historically, the Maghrebi type was present in certain areas of the Canary Islands, particularly in Gomera, Tenerife, also known as the Gaunches and the Gran Canaria. These regions experienced significant mixing over time, leading to a diverse population on the islands today. The Maghrebi type is also found among Berbers, specifically among Riffians, Kabyles, some Tunisian Berbers, and in western Libya such as the Gaido and the Nalut Berbers. And a few can be found among Tunisian Arab Berbers. Physically, individuals belonging to the Maghrebi type have fair skin, wavy reddish brown or blonde hair. Their eye color are diverse. They tend to be tall with a mesoscalic ectomorph to mesomorph body type. Their skulls are mesocephalic and chemi-orthochronic, relatively large-headed. The nose is mildly leptorine and the face is broad, sometimes slightly low, with a large jaw, significant suboptical arches, and occasionally mild prognathy. Their occiput is round and their body hair is modest. This Atlanto-mediterranean prototype is a distinct human classification that has a relatively ancient origin and can be traced back to early megalith builders of both Europe, North Africa, and West Asia. It has spread across the Mediterranean regions from the Mesolithic period until antiquity. Today, it is commonly found in various regions, including North Algeria, Morocco, and the Canary Islands, but also in Portugal, eastern Spain, such as Valencia, Liguria, western Switzerland, Wales, Croatia, and in Mesopotamia, in which the presence of the Atlanto-Mediterranean type is more diluted, transitioning towards the Proto-Iranian type. Physically, individuals belonging to the Atlanto-Mediterranean prototype typically have light brown skin, and their hair ranges from straight to curly, which usually being dark brown. They are generally rather tall and exhibit an ecto to mesomorphic body type, with a branchy mesoscalic skeletal structure. Their skulls are dolichocephalic and mildly hypsychronic, meaning the vault is somewhat rounded. The nose is predominantly straight but may occasionally be depressed and leptorine or having a high bridge. Their faces is coarse and long with deep-set eyes, and cheekbones are often wide. And the presence of significant brow ridges and mild prognathy, which is the jutting forwards of the jaw, is common among individuals of this type. This is the most brachycephalic Maghrebi type, exhibits close morphological similarities to alpines and to a lesser extent to Armenids and Berberids. However, it is not directly related to other alpines such as the European alpinid or Eastern alpinid, but rather the result of a similar adaptation. This particular type is commonly found in the Atlas Mountains of Algeria and Tunisia, with a subvariety existing on the island of Djerba. It also extends in lower frequencies across Libya, Egypt, and Morocco. Typically, individuals belonging to this Maghrebi type have light brown skin and straight or wavy brown to black hair, which is usually dark but sometimes can be blonde, brown, or red. Their eye color is typically dark, but it can be diverse. They have a medium height and a mesoscalic endomorph body type. Their skulls are rather brachycephalic and orthochronic, with a leptorine straight or slightly convex nose. The facial features of this Maghrebi type are more angular than those found in other alpinids, and they have deep-set eyes. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash all the buttons. And thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay curious.